All right. Season starts for real tonight. Pac-12 after dark, 7:30 on the West Coast. Number 14 Washington Huskies host the California Golden Bears, and we start to find out what this team might be made of this year. We won't really know for a few more games probably, but we'll get a little bit of an idea tonight. Last week was an exhibition. Last week was a rehearsal, blah, blah, blah. Now we play a decent team in the California Golden Bears. Not a great team, probably not one of the best teams in the conference, much less the country, but it's a unique test, especially with their defense. The Golden Bears have a pretty good defense. Last year they got us. I mean, that was the low point of the season for the Washington Huskies last year. We played California. That was the game, I believe, where Jake Browning got benched and offense never got on track, and we just let a low-scoring game get away from us. So that was probably the low point of the season. That was the moment when we realized we weren't that good. And we did manage to scrape together a respectable end of the season, but that was the moment when we realized there was just a pretty hard ceiling on that roster. Now, this year, the circumstances are very different. We're very early in the season, so I'm not expecting anything like that. And I'm certainly not expecting us to have to bench our starting quarterback because he's not performing like last year. So um, I feel good about this one. I think we are going to learn some stuff, but I still feel like this should be a pretty elementary win for the guys. I'm most excited to see how this offense stacks up against a real defense because the Golden Bears defense seems pretty good. We won't know for a while for sure, but they seem pretty good. And I know what we have with Jacob Eason. He's got a big arm. He's got a big, he's just a big guy in general. And I know what he is in terms of the style of quarterback he plays. I trust that he's a good quarterback. It's the rest of this stuff that I still got to figure out. Do we have good running backs now that we've lost Gaskin? Last week the guys played all right. But do we have a good rushing attack this year against a real defense? Do we have an offensive line that can hold up against a real pass rush, a real defensive front? I like our quarterback and I like our receivers. I know that those guys are legit. I know those guys can make big plays. I've seen them do it for a while now. I know what Jacob Eason can do physically. I saw it a little bit in Georgia and I saw it last week. I'm not concerned about those guys, but I will be watching the rushing attack and the offensive line against a decent defense tonight. And I want to see if they can perform. And as for our defense, last week was pretty good, but like I said last week, at the same time, we lost a lot of guys. How are we going to stack up against a better team? And the California offense doesn't seem like it's going to be great this year. They were okay last week against, UCD, whoever the hell that is, but they weren't great. They seem like a team that's going to be about their defense. So our defense, if we can't take it to this team, we're going to have real problems when we get into the games against, Utah. Utah won already today. Oregon, and I think we play USC this year. But either way, there are going to be better offenses down the pipe. And it wouldn't surprise me if the defense had a little bit of an off year this year. But tonight's a night where you expect them to take care of business. I'm looking for an easy win tonight. Not as easy as last week. Not a blowout, but I'm expecting something decisive. That's really all I can say. We're going to learn a little bit tonight, but for now, I still feel like I don't really know what's going on with this team. This team is just, a big question mark for me in a lot of areas until they start performing one way or the other in real games. All right. I am going to get out of here. I'm going to watch the, I think, Texas LSU game and getting ready for our game tonight. I will be coming with some Seahawks pregame later, but for now, we're going to call that good. Bow down to Washington.